everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my June wrap up. There's not much to wrap up, to be honest. The wrapping will be short. So let's just take a minute to think about God. No, June, an interesting month. What happened in June? I was already reading a big book and I did finish it. I was gonna say I didn't finish it. I did finish it. Very good of me, well done. Round of applause everybody. But it's a bit bigger than what I thought. So did I complete my June TBR? Let's just put it out there. No. I'm just a failure. No. The whole point in this video, I was thinking, should I even bother filming this? Because I've only read 2 books and that's a bit of a flop. But I thought, no, we need to normalise reading only 2 books in a month. And it's not only 2 books in a month, that's still like above average, you know? Even if it's not above average, even if it's below average, I mean, who cares? It's not a competition. I'm still going to do my June wrap up even though I only finished. No, it's not only finished 2 books because it's still good. I still finished 2 books. Raj over. Okay, so last month I was supposed to read Lapvona. Let's start off with the good stuff. Lapvona, which I finished. Hurrah, that's good. I was also supposed to read Pog by somebody. I can't even remember the name. Did I read this? No, I didn't. I mean, it's an ebook. Am I going to read an ebook? I'm not an ebook person. Why have I put it on the board? I don't know. But I didn't read it. I'm very sorry. And this is the one I'm kind of most sad that I didn't finish. And that's Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I'm thinking, should I read this anyway? But I want to also read my July TBR. I don't know if I should start reading this, you know? We'll see. I might start reading this. It's not actually the end of June. I've still got today and tomorrow. Yeah, I'm very sad I didn't get to this one because I've been wanting to read it for ages. So fingers crossed I will get to that one soon. The one I don't feel as bad about, even though I've already put it on my TBR, is The Pride of the Orange Tree, which I didn't read. It's so big. The time will come when I read this and it will be a good time, but it just wasn't its time. But this, I felt like it was the time and I just didn't have enough time to read, or I didn't make enough time to read, and that's why I'm a bit disappointed. The sweetest pie. Look at this pink situation that's going on. Why am I standing up? Oh yeah, I just went to put those books away. Well, I did read. I read Lapvona, like I already said, and I also read this book, which wasn't on my TBR, but it was the book that wouldn't burn. So I started this in May and I thought I would finish it, but I didn't. So I did finish it in June, but not in May. This cover is just, it's going to be very hard for a book to beat this cover. So let's talk about this one first. This book is set in my brain, it's like a desert kind of place, and you have the main city and then you have a few towns surrounding the city. It's set probably like a few hundred years ago. I feel like it's not in our world, it's a fantasy book. I think that's my kind of thing. I really like deserts. The main thing you're probably wondering, there's a library, and yes, it is set a lot in a library as well. So the library is in the main city and it's this hub of knowledge. There's lots of historical things that have happened in the library and lots of historical things that the library kind of hides as well. So there's some information that humans can't access, for example, but a different species can. So what is the plot about? There's 2 characters in here that we follow. There's Levira and there's Eva. I hope that's how you pronounce their names. So Levira is from one of the villages. It's called the Dust, that isn't in the city. The city people kind of look down upon people from the Dust because they think they're a bit dirtier, which is kind of mean, you know. They have more traditional ways of living. But then one day, these, I guess you could call them bandits, this other species kidnaps a lot of the children, including Levira, in her village, and starts taking them to we don't really know where. So that's the first point of Levira's story. And also she's always wanted to live in the city. Well, how much do I spill? Basically, she ends up in the city. This happens within the first couple of chapters, so I'm not spoiling anything too much. And then what does she do in the city? I'll leave it up to you to read because I don't want to spoil too much. We also follow Eva. How did I say their names when I was reading it? Eva? I think it was Eva. Eva is a boy who has lived in the library for his whole life. I can't really remember the circumstances now, but within the library there's this device called a mechanism, and you can go inside with a book and then you kind of live that book. It kind of comes to life around you. It feels kind of VR, if we were gonna compare it to something but more realistic, like you're actually living the scenes in the book. So Eva comes out of the mechanism after being trapped in there for a few years and finds himself in this part of the library where there's books just everywhere. The floor is made out of books, you can't see the ceiling because it's all just book stacks everywhere. And he also, when he's chucked out of the mechanism, he's also chucked out at the same time as 3 other people. Who are they called? I've forgotten already. They class themselves as siblings because they've lived together for years and years in this part of the library. They sustain themselves by a little swimming pool. It's a bit strange, a swimming pool with water, and all their crops grow around it. And some of them, they've been really traumatized by the mechanism and the books that they were stuck in. So for example, Eva's sister is very like warrior-esque, is very kind of scary and brutal and very physical and mean because that's the kind of book that she was stuck in. So yeah, it's very interesting. And another part of Eva's life is that all of his siblings came out of the mechanism gaining something, gaining a skill, whereas he didn't gain anything, but he felt like he lost something. So he came out thinking, there's this woman who I know exists, but I can't grasp who she is. I can't picture who she is, but I just know that she's the missing piece in my life. So we kind of follow that narrative. Who is this woman that he's talking about? That's all I'll say. It's very interesting. There's lots of different time things going on. It plays with time a lot as well. Lots of different settings as well. But the main component, the main setting is the library. So if you like books, which you obviously do because you're here. I would definitely recommend it. I mean, just for the cover, look, it's just fantastic, bravo. And the last book I read, lol, is Lapvona, I'm getting out of breath, by Ottessa Moshfegh. This is the first ever Moshfegh book I've read, signed first edition. You can, again, gauge from the cover what kind of book this is going to be. It's gory, it's grotesque, it's kind of disgusting in places, but it was refreshing for me because I haven't read any, I would call this literary fiction. I haven't read any of that genre in such a long time, and when I first started BookTube, that was my thing. It was like classics, literary fiction, dystopians, historical fiction. I haven't gone back to that for a while, so it was nice to kind of go back into something with a bit more metaphor in it. So what is this book about? The plot itself is a bit confusing to summarise, so I'll just talk about the setting, for example. That's the first thing I'll talk about. It's set in a fiefdom. I don't even know if that's how you say that word. A fiefdom, so we're looking at kind of medieval England. Christianity is very important to the lives of people here. Lapvona is a village within this world. It's not fantasy, like this could have been a village like a few hundred years ago. They're all self-sustaining people as well. They grow crops. One of the main characters, called Jude, has a few lambs. So everyone has their role in this village, in this society. There are bandits who try and kind of steal their stuff, steal their crops, all their goods, and you know, they get hanged for that because they're naughty. Yeah, that's kind of the world this is set in. And then we've got the villagers and we've got the lord as well up on the hill, who is certainly a character. His name is William. He's a wild character. He is so irresponsible. He does anything for entertainment, some grotesque things. If you read this, or you have read it, let me know what you think of the grape scene. The grape scene was definitely something that I will never be able to unthink. That's plastered in my brain forever now. So in terms of, if you're looking for a book that's very plot heavy, I maybe wouldn't recommend this to you. But if you're interested in metaphors, kind of a few twists and turns here and there, it's more of a book like, what does this mean? What does this foreshadow? What is this one thing meaning? How does God and Christianity have an impact on the lives of the villagers? I feel like you could do an essay on this, on lots of the different themes within it. It is, I don't want to say entertaining, but I found it quite entertaining. It's just so gory in an unpleasant but also pleasant way. If you're a fan of things like Cursed Bunny, the short story collection, or I'm trying to look at my books, like what does this remind me of? A bit like Fever Dream, something just a bit gory and that you don't really want to think about. that's what this book is. So I really want to read some more of Hitesh and Moshfegh's books. This has got very mixed reviews, lots of 1 stars, but I gave it 4 stars because I just thought it was breaking down barriers, but also the metaphors I loved as well. Don't ask me what they are because I haven't thought about it that much, but they're there for someone to divulge. That's all I read. Okay, no, it's fine. I read 2 books and one of them was very big. I'm proud of myself. Look, this is chunky. This is nearly 200,000 words, this one, and that one's shorter. See, my thinking was, for this month, I'd read Lapvona because it's shorter, and then I could get onto Legendborn or The Prior of the Orange Tree, which are the bigger books. But I didn't finish that one until like mid-June, and then I only just finished that one today, so my logic shouldn't work. Thank you for watching. If you've read either of these, let me know, and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Short and brief. I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.